Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Update on the insurance debacle with my 2017 van sitting in Tulsa.
Your hustle gotta be strong in this industry, as in any other industry.
Alright, so for those of you that know what the situation is, what I'm about to say is going to be a little redundant. For any of you that haven't heard what's going on and what this is an update for, so what's going on is my driver wrecked my van, my 2017 Ford Transit in Oklahoma on February 28th of this year. We're now 5 months past that. Insurance has been slow rolling on a lot of things, and so that's basically what's taking us to present. So there was a slow roll to initially get any repairs even started. It took about 2.5 months. Then some repairs were being done. Then when they got them finalized and they put everything together, there were some issues with the rear axle being bent. So then they needed to get approved to order a new rear axle and do that work. That again took some time that it shouldn't have taken for the approval for that and for the body shop to move forward. So that's where we are at. That's taken 5 months. So the update to that is they finally approved that. They've approved the axle housing and the axle and what's needed to do the axle. The parts are going to take a week to get. You figure a week or so to get the work done because that van's just sitting there. Chances are when the parts come in, they're probably not going to jump right on it. They're probably going to work it back into their schedule and then get to it. So I'm looking probably at another month before I get my van. Hopefully it's sooner, but that's kind of what I'm putting in my mind so that I'm not too pissed off. But so the other updates are, though, that I have been trying like crazy to get somebody to do something about this. So I've went up and up and up the ladder. So recently, I spoke to supposedly the second and head in charge of this whole claim process out there in Oklahoma. And the first guy I talked to, which was the second in charge, now I called them both and left voicemails. Second in charge is the one that called me. And we talked about it, and he says that they approved the estimate on the 25th, and the body shop is saying that they hadn't heard anything. So when I got off of that phone call, I called the body shop. Body shop hasn't had that okay, but later on he contacted me and said, hey, they did okay it, but they only okayed it for X amount of money. We need this amount of money to do it. We can't find a part for this price, and so we can't go forward yet unless they approve all this, the total amount that we're needing. So that caused more delay. So then the following day, because of that, nothing's going forward. I called both phone numbers again. This time I get a call back from the head guy, and that didn't start off and go very well at all, because at the beginning of it I told him my opinion that I felt that Progressive has dropped the ball, and he got defensive immediately, wanting to defend his team, and I'm not okay with that. Like, I can't even remotely agree with him doing that. Let me add more context so you know why I'm saying it that way. So in that conversation, he tells me that I have no information on this claim. I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happened. I just don't know. And then he then goes and starts defending his team when I say something about Progressive dropping the ball. And I'm like, well, how are you going to defend your team when you just admitted that you don't have any idea what's going on with the claim? Like, I've been involved with the claim. I've been dealing with this. And he's just like, well, I'm going to defend my team to the end and blah, 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 blah. So that's all it was, just a bunch of him trying to talk over me, trying to tell me, well, you don't understand things that we understand. Basically saying, hey, you're a dumbass customer that's just paying for your policy. You don't understand the intricate details that go into this as far as supply chain issues, because that's what he mentioned, supply chain issues and shit. And I'm like, listen, man, I said, I'm in the industry. I said, I understand supply chain issues. I said, but I'm telling you that my vehicle has not had a repair to this point that has required any kind of wait for the part. So all that bullshit you're telling me, that's all it is bullshit. Like the delay has been from the get-go, and And again, we're just going back and forth, and it ends up he's like, hey, give me 24 hours to check this out. It's all good. But so I agree, give him 24 hours. And so 24 hours goes by, haven't heard from him. Of course not. Of course not. Now, I did hear from him the same day of that 24 hours. So 24 hours would have been the following morning at like 10 o'clock, I think it was. He ended up calling me, I think, that afternoon, early evening, around 4 or 5. And was like, hey, this is what I found out so far. I haven't completed my investigation. I need to speak with the people at the body shop. They haven't returned my call. And, you know, I left a voicemail with them. So I reached out to the body shop. I left a voicemail as well. I also text. So that went throughout the weekend. Didn't hear from anything. So Monday, I hear from the body shop. And the body shop says, hey, I talked to the guy, the main guy that's in charge. And all in all, that conversation just ended with basically he got the approval he needed. So now they can go forward with the process and get the parts and get the van finished. Then about a half hour later, the Progressive guy called me, and he tells me his version of what he found in his investigation, and he admits that they dropped the ball a little bit, but the problem I have is he basically says they dropped the ball a little bit concerning this last okaying the estimate. He doesn't really. He kind of puts it off on really nobody in particular, a little bit of everybody as far as the first part, the 2.5 months. And I even told him, like, that's my biggest concern. It's like from the beginning, I mean, the 2.5 months there, and then it's been like a month for the second one. So that's 3.5 months that my van's not even getting touched, you know, due to all this. And I told him I agree that the body shop has some culpability in this. But he just tries to tell me that, you know, he apologized on their behalf for what he feels they did. He apologized for the way he handled the phone call when we talked on Friday, which I appreciate that. I accepted his apology, and I told him I appreciate that he was apologizing. You know, and at the same time, though, I told him, I said, my biggest thing is like the communication has been shit. Like, I have no recourse or no way to recoup this money for my van sitting. I said, that's my biggest frustration. And I said, you know, again, at the beginning, he's trying to say there was certain things. I said, if they would have told me there was an issue, because he tried to say something about, well, it's kind of hard to find a shop. Some of these shops don't take these high roofs. They can't work on them. And then he was also trying to put some blame on the body shop at the beginning, because he was like, my guy went out there, and they don't have a lift to put it on. They had to put it on jacks, and, you know, so on and so forth, and that caused a delay. And, you know, these body shops shouldn't accept, you know, these shops shouldn't accept it if they can't do the work and they can't put it on a lift, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I agree. I said, but at the same time, I still put that on Progressive, because you guys are the one that chose it to go there. You guys are the ones that picked the shop. You guys should know these things, not it be the responsibility of the body shop. Of course, they're just trying to make money. They're going to try and do what they can do. I said, so that is on you guys, you know. If you guys would have told me from the beginning, it's never been expressed to me at any point that there was an issue finding a shop. That was never expressed at any point. I said, so if that would have been, I would have gotten my van, brought it back, got it into a shop that I know I can get it into right away. You know, had I know any of this was going to happen, that's what I would have done. And again, if I had to do over again, I would just do that. Like, honestly, and I think I said this in the other video, if I have a van break down out of town like that again, and it's not a place that I've dealt with in the past, I'm bringing it right home. I'm not even going to like bullshit with it. I'm just going to figure out it, pay the chunk of money I need to get it back, because this was definitely a learning lesson. I was obviously trying to keep myself from having to spend, you know, $1,500 to $2,000 to have my van towed back, you know, obviously, because that would have come out of my pocket. So obviously I was trying not to do that. And by not doing it, and this is kind of, I guess you can relate this to maintenance, repairs, like don't shortcut the shit, man. Just do what you know is the right thing to do and get it done. It's gonna save you in the long run, you know, 9 out of 10 times. But with all that being talked about as far as the first part of it, you know, it's all a matter of just getting it off of my chest and wanting to basically let loose on somebody, because that's the only satisfaction I'm going to get out of this, because nobody's going to give me the money. Nobody's going to give me that money it cost me to sit that van for 5 months. Nobody's going to give me any of the money that I lost in lost revenue, because on average that van's gross revenue is about $8,000 a month. So you're talking about $40,000 in lost wages, and that's not counting the, like, I think it's like $9,000, you know, to pay for the van payment and the insurance up to this point. So my agent is trying to work on getting some kind of what do you want to call it? I forget the exact words, but basically, for the time it's been sitting, try to get that insurance all deducted to basically to where it's just a storage fee or whatever all that time, and get that money, the difference of that money, or prorated, I guess, and put the difference of the money on the new policy. So that's what they're trying to do. I haven't heard back from them on a finalized answer to that yet. So once I get more details and once anything else happens, I'll update you guys. But that's where we're at right now. I did get a comment from a guy in a video who says he runs a body shop in Oklahoma, and he says he won't even do work with Progressive. He said they're just that shitty. Now, obviously, it just seems like that division out there. Because, again, as I said, I don't want to shit totally on Progressive because I've had 2 claims here in Ohio, right here by the house. I had the work done both times right around the corner at the body shop. It was seamless, dude. It was a piece of cake. It was in there, got an estimate, got it approved, had it repaired within a couple, 3 days. Bam. Piece of cake. So what's going on with this is just crazy. Am I just lucky in this area and every other Progressive area sucks ass? I don't know. Any of you guys had issues with Progressive in any other areas besides Oklahoma and Ohio? Please give me some feedback. I'm curious to know if their shit's kind of bad overall, because to be honest, this is the only way that we can kind of make any kind of difference or make any noise about this, because right now Progressive's kind of the big gun in town as far as when it comes to commercial insurance. And if everybody's having shit service or shit problems with them as far as dealing with claims, like, this needs to be addressed, guys. We need to figure out a way to, make some noise about this, because we pay a lot of money for insurance coverage, man. We do, and we should be treated a lot better than what this is definitely going on. So, all right, guys, I'm out.